Good morning all. Today's video is going to be all about your observations when moving off and stopping. Okay, so there's three faults that I normally see, and that is people, well, number one is people looking but not seeing. So they know they're supposed to be doing their observations, so they'll give it all the looking round and having a good look around the car before they pull off. And then I might say to them, okay, so did you see that lady across the road walking towards you? And they'll go and they'll turn around and have another look, and then they'll say, oh no, because they've had a good look around but they've not actually registered what they've seen. So it is important that you make sure you have when you are looking around, try and register what you've actually seen and look for any movement. Okay, number two is what I like to call the robotic observation, which is they know they're supposed to look all around the car and they'll give it this. And then they drive off. Now, when I see someone doing that, I know they've just literally scanned in those places just to make sure that I've seen them do their observations. Okay, so we don't want to see them done like that. It's literally, let's just have a look round the car to look for any movement. So the observation should pretty much look more like this. If I was to look around the car before I pulled off now, have a quick check there, can't see anything, quick check, and away we go. And you're genuinely just having a look round the car to see if there's anything around before you decide to move it. Okay, so that's number two. And finally, number three, that is people not knowing which way round to do their observations. So they don't know whether they should check that side last or that side last. They know they're supposed to check blind spots because you get that drilled into you on your lessons that you need to check blind spots, but they're never sure which one they need to check last. But I'll explain that when I'm out and about, because I'm going to do some demonstrations as a driver around so you can see how I genuinely do my observations. So I'll talk you through all three of them as I'm doing it. Okay, hope it helps. Okay, so observations when we're pulling off then. Okay, on the side of the road, because I'm on the left hand side of the road, okay, I'm going to be the last place I want to check, because car's going to be coming from there. That's the last place I'm going to want to check. Okay, so your observations, you're going to start all the way around, bring them around, and then check there before you pull off. Now whenever you're doing your observations, genuinely as you're looking around, just be asking yourself, right, is there anybody around that's going to benefit from signalling? Because if there's nobody around, don't bother putting a signal on. That'll show me as your instructor, and it would show you, an examiner, that you've done proper observations. Because if you stick a signal on every time and there's nothing around, it's going to make me start to wonder whether you've actually had a proper look or not. So have a good look round. As you're having a look, ask yourself, right, is there anything worth signalling for? If not, don't bother signalling. Okay, so I'll give you a demonstration. Then as I pull up, I'll give you a running commentary of what I'm doing at that point. Okay, so to pull off, get prepared. That's it. Now observation, starting that way. Checking round, can't see anything, no one worth signalling for, so away we go. You can have another quick check there just to make sure as you go as well. Okay, so that's with that one. Okay, and then we're bringing it to a stop, just literally quick check behind, nothing worth signalling for at the moment, checking the left mirror, another quick check as we're sorting position out, quick check to the left as well. I can just see a car in the distance starting to catch me up, so I'll just let them know. Okay, and then pulling it up there. Okay, handbrake, neutral, cancel the signal. Okay, so you'll notice there as I pulled up, again as I was doing the observations and as I was bringing the car to a stop, I was checking behind, and to start with when I first started slowing down, there was nothing worth signalling for, so I didn't bother putting the signal on. But then as I carried on slowly moving towards the curb and slowing down, I noticed that a car had started to follow me, it had pulled out of a junction behind. So at that point, I then put a signal on. So I carried on checking as I was bringing the car to a stop, and then the situation changed, so I put the signal on, because there was somebody that would benefit from it at that point. Okay, so always ask yourself, do I need a signal? Has the situation changed? Just keep checking as you're bringing it to a stop. Okay, that's what your instructor will be looking for, that's what your examiner will be looking for. Okay, okay, so now I'm pulled up on the right hand side of the road. So your observations when we pull off this time, the last blind spot you're going to want to check is where the car is going to be coming from. So that's going to be on your left hand side. Okay, so I'll do a demonstration now. I'm going to do the observations all the way around, finishing with the left blind spot. Okay, so getting prepared, starting over my right shoulder, nothing worth signalling for at the moment. Okay, all clear at the minute, slowly moving out, another quick check of my shoulder, that's still clear, and away we go. Okay, and that's how we do our observations when moving off from the right hand side. Now I'm going to show you what I don't like seeing. Okay, and So this is just, in my opinion, it looks too robotic. I mentioned it earlier on in the video, and it just doesn't feel like you've naturally had a good look around the car. It feels like you're just doing it for my benefit rather than doing genuine observations. Okay, so I'll do a demonstration and see if you can notice the difference between what I'm going to do now and what you've seen in the last couple of clips. So we're prepared. Snap out of that. That's the robot. Get rid of that. Okay, what's the difference? For me, as soon as I see a student doing their observations like that, I'll be pretty much pulling over again and then saying, okay, and asking them what they think they saw. Did they see anything? Did they do proper observations? Because like I said, I mentioned it earlier on, there is looking and not seeing. You can move your head around but not see things. I tend to like to, if I get a student that's repetitively doing that, I'll then ask them to tell me. I'll get them to do like a commentary on their observations. So I'll say, right, tell me what you can see as you're looking around. And then over time they'll start going, right, okay, nobody over there, nobody over there, I can see a bird over there, I can see some shelves, okay, nobody walking there. So then they'll be talking through, and then I'll believe what they're seeing. Okay, so that can tend to help as well. If you feel you're struggling at all with your observations, talk through what you're seeing as you look around. Okay. Okay, so for this last bit, I like to get students out of the car. For those that are struggling with knowing which blind spot to check before they pull off. They know they're supposed to check a blind spot, but they're like, I don't know whether to check my left or my right. So what I tend to do is get them out of the car, get them walking along the path just like I'm doing here. Okay, so there's the curb. And then I say, right, okay, let's cross the road. Which way are you going to check before you cross? Okay, and they're going to check there, because that is going to be the last place you want to check before you decide. So instinct, if I cross the road now, I'm going to want to check there. Okay, so you're going to check that before you actually cross. Okay, now when you're in the car, obviously you've got a whole heap of car that you're going to be having to move, so you need to make sure you're checking all the way around. But the final place you're going to check is the direction that you're actually going to move off into. Okay, so if I want to cross again now, I'm going to cross the road, so I've got the road behind me there. Instinct is going to want to make me check that side before I decide to cross the road to see if anything's coming. So when you're doing your blind spot checks, make sure that if you're on the left hand side and you're about to move slightly to the right to pull off, you're going to be checking that one last. Okay, and vice versa, if you're pulled up on the right hand side and you're going to be moving back to the left, do your observations from right over to the left. Hope that helps. Like I said, I don't know how clear or how helpful that's been on video, but when I get students out of the car, the penny really drops, and then from then on they usually remember which way round to do their blind spot checks. Hope it's helped you guys. Okay, so to finish off with a little bit of information to help you with your test and help you be prepared to what to expect on your test. Okay, so because you will be asked to pull up on the left about 3 or 4 times during your test, and it can feel a little bit random because whenever you're on your driving lessons, usually you'll be asked to pull up on the left, and it'll be to explain about roundabouts or to discuss something that might have gone wrong, to discuss things that you might be able to do better next time. You'll be pulling up, basically what I'm getting at, you'll be pulling over for a reason. Now on your test, the examiner will just say, okay, pull up on the left, choose yourself a spot to pull over on the left. So your observations, etc., pulling over on the left. And then as soon as you've stopped, you'll say, okay, drive on when you're ready. And then away you go. And like I say, it can feel a little bit strange because there'll be part of you that'll be pulling over expecting him to say, discuss something or anything like that, if that's what you've gotten used to. So be prepared that they do just pull you over and then ask you to get going again. Okay. The reason that they do that is because if you think about it, once you've passed, you're going to be pulling up and moving off, doing that particular maneuver more than any reverse maneuver, more than a bay park, more than reverse parallel park. You'll be pulling up because you're going to think pulling up outside your own house, pulling up outside a friend's house, pulling up outside a shop. So many times you're going to be doing it. So it is important that you know how to do it safely and you know what's going on around with good observations. If you haven't already and you're on your lessons, okay, at some point, if you feel you're ready for it, ask your instructor to actually do moving off and stopping on a busy road, okay? Because it's all very well moving off and stopping on a quiet road, but then you pass and then your friend lives on a main road, you're not going to feel overly confident with doing it. So get that confidence up in doing it on a main road. Okay, so I hope that's all been helpful for you. If you have got a test coming up, good luck, and yeah, all the best.